rebuilding confidence, and harmonizing with nature. With over 4 decades of changing lives, your self-discovery archaeologist, get ready to be the best of you with your host, Beverly Zymet.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Beverly Zymet Show, where being the best you can be just got easier. And wow, do I have a treat for you today. My guest is Julia Seraphine. She's calling in from New Haven, Connecticut, and she is known as the social media prodigy. So take it away there, Julia. Thank you for coming on the show.
Hi, thank you for having me. It really is a pleasure to be here.
Well, you know what? It's going to be a fun show. And I'm sure you got a lot of great tips on social media for anybody and everybody out there, especially now, right? I mean, oh my gosh, just in the last month and a half, the internet has totally imploded in a manner that it wasn't happening before, especially when it looks, for Facebook Lives and Zooms and video, anything and everything that every time you turn around, there's more on. And the virtual events and oh my gosh, I tell you, the things that I was doing before is like, oh, I'm in my own little world. All of a sudden, it's like, whoa, I'm inundated, right? So give us a little bit of background on why you call yourself the social media prodigy. Obviously, it's because you're a young little lady here, which is great. And that technology is like it's instilled in your cells. It's crazy for some of us that don't have that. We have to learn from a different way. So we are all listening, especially me. I'm excited to see what you can teach me about this social media. What brought you into that? What led you to that? And, where can we all go to learn the greatest secrets of making that media shine for us?
So I'm called the social media prodigy because I started when I was only 9 years old on a children's social media
site. Was that
site.
A year ago?
No. I'm 21 now.
Okay.
So I've been in this for a really long time. And I was 9 and I started on the children's social media website called Roblox, where you can have your own games that other kids can play on.
Okay.
You can sell clothes and you can do advertisements for those things. And you can even have groups. And
wow.
I was able to learn the online advertising platform that they used. And I was able to advertise my places, my games, and my group. And I was able to sell thousands of clothes. I was able to get more than 100,000 visits on my personal game. And I was able to get the second largest fashion group on the whole website at the age of only 10 years old.
Wow, just a little entrepreneur here, aren't you? That's amazing.
Yeah.
No wonder when you stepped over into the shall we say the adult world, it's like I don't like that because I didn't have to grow up. I'm just shy of 5 foot, and if I meet that 5 foot, I have to act like an adult. So as long as I stay a quarter inch under, I'm good, and then I don't have to act like the rest of them. So,
so I feel like for me, I'm just like 10 years older than most of the other kids, right. But I still feel like a kid at heart.
Stay there because that's the best place to be. So you've got 11 years of experience on there. What drove you at that early age? Now, I had never heard of that platform before, but that's okay. What drove you to start your marketing? Is it just that you wanted something else to do, you wanted to set yourself apart from, or you wanted to make money? What was the whole scoop?
I guess for me, all of my passions lied in the whole fashion industry, which I'm still interested in today, as I've recently opened an online jewelry store, and we're currently building our website now. And I guess for me, the whole reason that I was driven to start advertising in the first place was to really get my creative passions out there and to share my artistic vision with all the other kids that were on the platform. And now I still strive to do the exact same as an online influencer. And I'm close to 16,000 followers on Instagram now. And that's really exciting for me. And I plan to do the exact same thing there, sharing my fashion and all the things that I care about.
That's amazing. And from what I understand, the Instagram is kind of like the place to be for your generation, right? So
Yeah.
so do you call yourself one of those millenniums? Is that what?
Yeah, I guess I would say I'm a millennial, yeah. I'm
Okay.
also a little bit closer to Gen Z as I
Okay.
am like 21, but I'm like right in the middle. I
Right
could
on
be
the
either way
cusp,
at this
right?
point.
Well, see, then you
Yeah.
can go either direction. That's kind of nice. So if I don't like that side, I'll just go over here. Well, if I don't like that
Yeah.
side, I'll go back over here, right?
Each generation has so many promising individuals that I would be proud to belong to either one.
Oh, thank you for saying that because you know what? It's interesting. I don't know where they come up with these generation names and everything, but I mean, I come from the baby boomer generation, okay? And I get that, because it was after the war, and men were coming back to their wives, and so boom, bing a bang bong, here we all were, It'll be interesting to see coming out of this little COVID dilemma that's going on is there going to be the second wave of baby boomers? Ooh, that
Yeah.
could be
I mean, who
interesting.
knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to do something when you're just kind of like isolated, right? So, yeah, I tell you, we live in interesting times. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah,
It's
this feels like a really historical time period.
it is, and it's interesting talking with you coming from age 21, and just really starting your life, and getting to know yourself and what your passions are. I mean, you started at an earlier age, which gave you a heads up more so than a lot of kids that are your age. But there's still that so much this big dream world. I know you've got this probably massive dream that you're looking to accomplish, and you will, and stay focused on
Thank
that.
you.
Just stay focused on that and keep driving because you'll get there. So being like at the start of things and seeing the world jump into this total unexpected, I don't even know what to call it, right? Big shift on the planet, right? Because it's global. And then
Yeah.
moving myself to the opposite end, so to speak, right? I'm 70, all right? So we're looking from 21 to 70. That's like 50 years,
Yeah, that's a pretty
right?
big time span,
It,
yeah.
it is. So when I take myself back to 21, it's not the 21 of today. Let's put it that way. And I'll guarantee you the 70 of your time is not going to be the 70 of today. But the world has changed so much. There was nothing, like what you were talking. There was no such thing as internet, right? There was no such thing as cell
Yeah.
phones, right? There was no such thing as energy healing work or psychic or um, personal development. There was none of that stuff back then. There was nothing. You
Yeah.
had you had very little to do with how do you make yourself better type of things. Only by the mental health. It's like if you needed to talk, if you had emotions that were bothering you back then, it was like they weren't even talked about. They
Yeah.
weren't. And so being able to grow up and share that, by the time I was 24, I was in a position where I actually exploded to the world because I had so much anger and hate inside of me that was suppressed, and nowhere to take it. And I took it out to the universe, and I went for a walk one night, and let me tell you, I gave God a piece of my mind, shall we say, right? Because I didn't, at that time where I was in my life, I had no understanding that there's a higher consciousness or any of that kind of stuff, and I blamed the world for all of my problems. But again, there was no way to get that out. Now, you could go to a shrink, that's what we called them back then, right? A psychiatrist or psychologist, and you had to just kind of like bare your soul. But then they, here it is on a golden platter, go home and eat it again, come back next month and puke it up again, and then take it home, and we'll give you this drug so it keeps tasting better every time you puke it up. I mean, it was crazy. It's like, yeah, there's got to be a better way, right? And so I was led intuitively. I was just kind of led by just being with myself and discovering myself. And that's what led me on the path to be where I am today, is to come from that edge of suicide to figure out where my life was taking me. I had no identity. I had lost identity because I was being referred to as being so-and-so's mom, or being the one who wrote for the newspaper, or whatever the case was. It was all by association. Didn't even have a name. It's like, wait a minute, my name is Beverly. I have a name. Right? And where's my purpose? I started listening to what I know now was my higher consciousness that led me to be where I am today, and leaving the little farming community of Iowa. I was second oldest of 11 kids, right?
Wow.
And getting a divorce, moving to the big city of Denver, Colorado, that was huge in 79, right? It was a whole different world. But there were things that were starting to open up in the cities, not in the countries, but in the city. And different people that I had met were saying, do you know what you're doing? And I said, I had no clue what they were talking about. Well, they were talking about things that I did intuitively and stuff like that, And for the first time in my life, I heard the word psychic. I'm like, what is that? For me, it was things that when the fair came around and you had the gypsy card readers, and it was taboo. Oh, you stay away from them because they're going to steal your money out of your pocket when they're not doing it, and they're lying, and they're going to tell you all that. Oh my God, you would not believe. You would not believe the programming that we had back then as kids, but that's the way it was, So the world really shifted, and then all of a sudden, it was in the 90s when I was first introduced to a computer, right? I'm like, okay, what is this thing, right? And then in the early 2000s, it was finally, okay, cell phones are starting to be a little more whatever, and I was traveling. I was constantly on the road. I had my RV, and I was on the open road. I said, well, I'll get one when I don't have to pay roaming. Well, guess what happened, But it happened so fast, so fast, so fast. And in these days, when you look at where the internet has gone now, because that hasn't been around that long, and it's continuously
very new,
imploding. So at 9 years old, which is 11 years ago, you were kind of like right on the edge of the brink of its this is a new way of life, right? And you stepped into it and embraced it. And look where you are today, which is awesome. So what can you say to the audience here that's listening to you that's going to help make them that better you? Because this is all about being a better you. What can help them be a better them on the social media, from where you started at 9 years old to where you are at 21 today? What got you here, and what's going to get you to the next level that you can kind of let us all in your little secret behind it all, because it is changing so fast?
I would say it's definitely thinking of the internet as not just some computer thing that you can access from time to time. It's like a completely different world where people are connected all over the globe. And if you start to realize how much reach you have and how much potential the internet has, then you could really start to broaden your horizons and start to put yourself out there. And being a better person on the internet really means being kind to all the people that you come across, even if you might have different opinions, or if they might say something you don't like.
Right.
You can still like and be positive to people, even if you don't like them.
Right. And there's always that delete button, right?
Yeah. If you don't like what someone says, like, you can delete it. It's okay.
Right.
Everyone has the right to their own opinion.
And that is so wise, coming from such a young spirit, It really is, and again, I share a lot with, it doesn't matter what other people think of you or say about you. It matters what you say about you and what you think about you. Because there's billions of people around the world, and as you said, they can all have their own opinion. Just because it doesn't coincide with yours doesn't make it right or wrong. It just makes it theirs, right?
Yeah. Everyone has the right to feel the way that they want to feel, and what someone might think of you is honestly like none of your business, but you can at least accept that people have differing viewpoints, and I really believe in that.
Yeah, and that's a really great way to start your new life here. and have that belief because it's necessary. People need people regardless of where we are, right? People need people, and this internet connection, which, because of this COVID thing that's going on right now, it's that distancing thing. And now we're on a Zoom here, and so the distance is still the distance, but we're closer because we can see each other side by side without being side by side. But we have another arena called the virtual reality world, the little avatar world. I would love to have you talk about that world because that's your generation. And can you explain a little bit about how that impacts what you're doing with your business and how you're taking it and beyond maybe the game playing, right?
So, yeah, I would say that everybody's like individual persona on the internet is really what they make of it. Like, you can really portray a different side of yourself on the internet, and you could really express anything that you want to express. Like, some days in real life, I'm not as fashionable as I appear on Instagram.
Right.
Even now, I'm wearing a sweater, but maybe I'm wearing pajama pants. Who knows? But
That's right.
if I want to express that, like, I'm feeling fashionable, then I'll definitely bring that online, and I'll want to show that to my audience. Yeah.
Yeah. And so with the little avatar world, you can just really be an expression, how you ever dress it up in the whole enchilada, right?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, like, I edit my photos too. I'm a fervent believer that everybody has the right to edit their photos and to try to create the best content that they can. Editing is necessary. But in real life, I'm not as touched up as I appear on Instagram. By far, yeah.
You look beautiful, just the way you are. And again, sometimes, when you look at the emotional aspects of life and what's going on, sometimes we use that makeup and that facade to cover up the truth of who we are and what we're feeling, right? And what I've noticed in the short time that I've been involved with the virtual reality world is that people have the ability to come in there, drop all inhibition, because they use a different name, they dress how they want, they feel, they're able to be an expression, just say and come and go and do, and have that freedom that they don't feel comfortable with because, maybe they've lost part of that identity. Maybe they don't really know how to be that expression of themselves out there in the world. And, so how they can respond and become differently and actually get lost in that virtual reality world if they don't connect the two and the distancing in themselves, right? Would you find that to be true on your side and in your age bracket of what's happening?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see my friends, like, only a few of them would really post things that I would say, like, oh, that's exactly what they would post. Or, oh, that sounds exactly like something they would say in real life. Like, people have the right to express anything that they want to on the internet. Right. And I honestly don't see a lot of these sides of my friends in real life as opposed to how they portray themselves on the internet.
Wow, that's interesting you say that. So it's, again, it's that identity crisis thing, right? And and then coming out of this whole isolation, it's been coming up here on 2 months pretty soon. With that is how do we act now? How are we going to respond? What's going to be the interaction? Because they're still putting a lot of fear out there. Okay, so we're gonna like give you the privilege to go out, but keep your distance. And it's like, what is that? I mean, I didn't grow up in that. Right? And I'm a very touchy-feely person. So for me, the struggle is I don't want to avoid people. I don't want to be told, and I never liked that anyways, I was a rebel from day one, right? That I can't actually go up and say hi to somebody, shake their hand, or somebody I haven't seen in a while. Oh my God, I haven't seen you forever. Give them a big hug. It's just like, to me, that is not what the spirit of living is all about, right? And so we have a lot of different viewpoints of what's going to happen. And so to be able to work through different inhibitions and stuff, and a lot of different fears. Now, the medical institution has been working with virtual reality for quite a few years, working on different fears and phobias and suicidal tendencies, anxieties through the virtual reality, because they can start shifting and bring them close to what that fear is, and then back it away, and then bring them close again and back them away, and help them move through it, right? Sometimes we don't have that option in the real world, so kind of merging the two, there's pros and cons on everything. I started working with a gentleman, kind of partnered up, and we've created a virtual reality networking group. So
Really?
yeah, and it's all about the business side of it, not the games, but taking that platform and turning it into a business. So like your chambers, your lead groups, your BNIs, and all those different ones that are out there. So we've actually taken them to the virtual reality world, and created groups where we have the different memberships and things like that. And we're getting ready to launch an event in the virtual reality world, where we've created, it looks like a convention center. So we have all the different tables and stuff where everyone's going to be able to come, put their business out there, interact. We're going to have passes that people can come to the show, come onto the platform. This sounds like fun.
It sounds like so much fun.
Yeah. So, if we can talk about it later, but anybody out there, if you guys are all listening and you want to know how to get into this platform and get to be a part of it, comment below, because we're on the go and we are moving, and we'll have positions, to be able to sell. Well, I shouldn't say sell. We're going to market on a month-to-month basis, right? To where it's a membership that you can have your spot in this event center, and you can invite people who can invite people, because we need guests in there, right? To stop at your tables. But you can put whatever it is that you want up there, So let's just say, that Julia, you were interested in something like this. You say, hey, yeah, I want a table in there, right? And then you've got your jewelry over there, right? Everything is a clickable, and it'll take them right back to your store. They can buy something on the spot. If you're an author, you got a book, you can put it up there. You've got an online store, that's a clickable thing. So there's so many ways and so many fun things that we're doing here to get that interaction, because now you have a people-to-people connection inside the avatar world, that people are coming up and communicating with you, and it's going to broaden who you are, and it's going to take you global, because the VR world is global, right?
That's really exciting.
You like that idea?
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about being a speaker?
Yeah, I was actually invited to speak at NYU, and it got canceled because of the whole coronavirus.
Right.
So maybe over the summer I'll be going there to speak. But I'm actually, really interested in being a speaker.
Okay. So what we have is we have auditoriums where during this event you can be there speaking. So you can, different hours of the day, you can go up there and do your speaking. But the cool thing about it, you don't have to worry about somebody else interfering, because you can talk as long as you want, as short as you want, because that's your auditorium, right? Yeah. And then so now you're back down here at your table, right? And so it's like, okay, now you've got somebody that decided they wanted to go check out your auditorium, right? So I missed it. I wonder what was up there. So they go up there, they click, they go in there. Boom, guess what? Julia starts talking as if the audience was there again, and they, oh, well, let me listen in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to be in there to talk, but when you're there live, then that part gets shut off, and you do your talk, and you interact with your people, or do whatever, right? So that's another way. And let's just say you wanted to do, here's your social media thing, you wanted to do your online. You could actually go into your auditorium with your little avatar. You could do a talk. You've got a video board up there that you can put PowerPoints up on. You can put a little video up there to watch, or you can actually project yourself up there in real life talking as your avatar. There's so many things that you can do to your room. You can deck it out however you want your auditorium decked out. How cool is that?
That is so cool.
So
That's definitely the wave of the future.
Well, it is. It really is. And we've done it in a very, very professional manner to make it inviting, right? To make it inviting, to make it personal, and to really, again, set everyone aside from, the virtual. The virtual word has gotten to be kind of misinterpreted because the virtual reality world is avatars. It's not Zooms back and forth. It's not Skyping back and forth, right? But
it's not.
So again, it's educating and really taking it to the next level. So we'd love to have your expertise and people that because you're exposing yourself to a major world here. When you think about it, how many people do you know that would love to have the opportunity to have their store online? You mentioned an online store, right? But to be able to market it in that kind of avenue, that kind of exposure, and then still have an area where you can keep it up there on an online store 24/7 for anybody that comes on the platform after the event.
So cool.
Right? So it's a day we really had no idea when we started this prior to the coronavirus, stuff, that it just kind of started. We were taking our little baby steps and talking about it, and and it was starting to grow a little bit here and there, and then this whole thing just went boom, and in an instant it changed, and we started getting so inundated. We were like, holy crap, so the world got fast really fast, and
it
so
did.
Yeah. How have you noticed a difference, being the little prodigy that you are, and getting yourself out there on the internet? What was the major shift that happened with your business and with your fans and with just your personal life on the internet when the whole shutdown happened?
Well, first of all, the supply chain really got affected, so I've had to push back opening my website because shipping times are now completely unpredictable. And I wouldn't want to put my customers who are nice enough to come visit my store through the experience of waiting a long time to get their package when I've made sure that the shipping is supposed to be very fast. And I've also noticed that people are a lot more candid about their experiences being home in quarantine. Like on Facebook, I'll see my relatives joking around about how they've grown a long mustache, or their hair got really long, or, oh, I've been wearing these pajamas for like 3 days, or, oh, I had breakfast at dinner time. It's all people being their most authentic selves, and I really appreciate that. It's very, very nice to see people being so candid about who they are actually when they're at home or when they're forced to be in a situation like this.
And
it's very funny and nice.
Yeah, and I think some of that, it's like boredom. It's like, God, we've been here for so long, we don't know what to do. So, it's just so silly stuff out there. But, like you said, you really made a good point there. They're being candid. They're being their real self. So, all of a sudden, it's like the facade has dropped. And they're making kind of a joke out of it, and everybody's kind of making it a fun thing, yet it is the real them being able to, again, maybe that little inner kid coming out to play, right? And so hopefully that's going to continue and see what kind of impact that it has on the world once, things start to shift, shall we say, right? But I like what you said, to be candid, and again, I think people are starting to recognize parts of themselves that they covered up or hid or denied out of fear of not being accepted, right? And so the exposure, in the social media is exposure that never's done anywhere in the world, right? To get that kind of exposure. Boom, you put up one picture, it can go viral. It's like, wow, that's exposure. Let's talk about viral.
Hmm.
What tips could you give our audience about going viral? What
I would
makes
say
a
the best
post?
ways to get viral are probably to research the hashtags that are most relevant to the kind of content that you post. So,
Okay.
say you're a fashion person like me, I would look in pages or hashtags like, oh, fashion inspiration, outfit of the day, fashion, New York fashion, since I go to New York a lot for business and such.
Yeah, you're pretty
And
close. Now you can't go to New York. They don't want you there.
yeah, I appeared on a news show that's filmed in New York City, but instead I had to call in through Skype, even though I would have much rather gone there in person and been
Sure.
on the show in person.
Right.
But yeah, I would say the best tips for going viral are to research your hashtags and to make content that people would love to consume.
Right.
Make sure that the pictures that you post are visually interesting and that they're really captivating to your audience, because that's really the key behind something that goes viral, is something that really draws people in and makes people appreciate what you have posted.
You know, I think there's a lot of us out there that really don't understand the hashtag thing. Can you tell us the story behind a hashtag and what it actually looks like? Because I still know people that when I say something about a hashtag, they're like, "What are you talking about?" Right? So can you kind of go into detail what that is and why it is and how it originated and how it would make it go viral? What is behind the scenes of a hashtag?
So hashtags are usually ranked by how much engagement you get on a certain post. And I guess I would say hashtags, when you break them down at their very base, would probably be just little destinations within the website that people go to look for whatever they want to see. So instead, like, or because like I usually post an outfit of the day, people are usually there looking for outfit ideas.
Okay.
And if I post a really good outfit, then people will go there and they'll see it, and then it has the potential to see or to be seen by more people and to potentially go viral.
Okay. And it's all because you did that little hashtag thing, and it's just like the little cat and mouse thing, right?
Yeah,
I don't know what else to call it because it looks
it
like
looks
a
like
little
a
cat and mouse,
tic-tac-toe
right? Tic
board.
tac toe board. That's right. Yeah, yeah. And put it in front of. Now, if you wanted to create your own hashtag, can you create your own hashtag?
You can. I usually use hashtag Julia Seraphine at the end of all my posts,
Okay.
because if people are looking through hashtags, maybe it'll be recommended. Like, oh, you looked up hashtag outfit. Maybe you'd want to see hashtag Julia Seraphine. She posts a lot of outfits. And that's,
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
you're saying that one hashtag can lead to another hashtag that can lead to you. So it's wow. So it's almost
Yeah,
like
through
that ripple
varying degrees
effect.
of separation. Yeah.
Well, that's good to know. That's really good to know. Hey, guys, did you hear what she just said? I didn't know that. That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
and people could also look at your hashtag and see a lot of your posts. They could be really interested in you, and it's really good for personal branding.
And personal branding, from my understanding, is where it's needed to be because it's all about you, right? That's kind of why I named my show the Beverly Zimet Show, and then I had my tagline, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
The
So,
power of branding is very powerful.
well, that's true with anything, you know. When you have your brand, nobody can take it. I mean, you go back. Let's go back way ancient here, right? And we go back into cowboy and Indian days, so to speak. Okay. Well, what did the farmers do because they had open range? They would brand their animals
Hmm.
because the animals were going to mix and match, right? Well, when they came to separate them, they had a brand on them, right? To say that one's mine, I can prove it. It's got my brand, right? So it's the same thing in today's world, right? When you're on the internet, you know, this is you. This is your content. It's got your name on it. It's got your brand on it, right?
Yeah, I put a lot of watermarks on my pictures, especially pictures that I think might go viral. Because if people like screenshot it and show it to their friends, they might say like, "Oh, that's a really nice picture, but who made it?"
Right.
If you have your watermark on it, then people will be able to tell.
So explain a little bit what is a watermark if our parts of our audience out there don't know what it is.
So on some of my pictures, I just put at Sapphire dot underscore dot eyes, which is my personal Instagram handle.
Oh, okay.
And I usually use watermarks to protect my intellectual property and prevent people from using my pictures in advertisements without my permission, or to have them protected from people who might be impersonating me online, which has happened before. It's really good and really helpful because some people, they won't go through the trouble of trying to remove a watermark. And
Okay.
of course, there will always be people who are skilled enough to remove a watermark off of a picture. But at that point, you just got to let it go because they tried so hard.
Right. Right. And then those are going to be further in farther in between than someone that can just, capture it. So that's good to know. That's really good to know. I mean, I was familiar with watermarks, but I didn't really have a full understanding, but it makes sense. So if you're trying to, like you say, brand yourself, right, to make sure that it is safe, and just, especially if it's a logo, right?
Yeah,
And
logos are very popular nowadays. I think
yeah,
they're very cool.
and so it's kind of, so a watermark can almost be in comparison as a copyright, so to speak, right?
Yeah, because whenever you take a picture, you own the copyright to it. And having your name on the picture really shows people, like, oh, who owns the copyright to this picture?
Okay, that's why when you go and you search Google for a picture, right? I've seen someone that had, the light background, and you're like, oh, well, I guess I can't use that one because it's not a royalty free, right? And it's
Yeah.
got those marks on it. But there's also some that have been out there that don't have the marks on, right? And you use them, and then all of a sudden somebody's kicking you off. Like the social media will kick you off and say, especially YouTube is really good about that. You just used something that was, it's like, oops, yeah, well, it didn't show, right?
Yeah, like
Right?
you use a few seconds of like a song, or like someone drives
Yeah,
by and the song is playing on the radio in their
right.
car, and all of a sudden your video will get like copyright claims.
Right, and you're
Luckily,
saying,
I don't
what the
upload
heck
on
did I
YouTube.
do? Like you said, a
Yeah.
car drives by and bingo, there it is. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
I,
mean, I've heard stories of like YouTubers complaining that, oh, my song or my show that I did online, it got claimed because someone whistled the notes to a song. It really gets ridiculous, I've heard.
yeah. Well, there's extremes on everything. And there, again, we got the duality, we got the pros and cons, You're looking for safety over here on this side at the same time, you're looking for freedom here, and there's a fine line, of the extremes. But again, where do you draw that line? It has to stop somewhere. It's kind of like the weather. You can be driving down the road, it can be raining like heck on one side and dry on the other. So that
Yeah,
there has to be a beginning and an end somewhere, right? And sometimes we don't always agree with the beginning and the ends, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a fascinating world we live in, for sure. For sure.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah. So wow, some great tips on hashtags, on watermarks, on, oh, okay, you gave us some great morsels. I love talking with you. You're just so right there for such a young spirit, and being able to have every age bracket on this show. And please open it to your friends if you have other people that are interested, or want to come on. Give them the link, because I like to have a major variety of people, and it doesn't matter what the subject is, right? Because it's all about
Yeah,
being that better you, right? And the tips
it
that you
really is.
shared here today are definitely going to help become a better you on the internet, and how to market yourself and things like that. So, what are your favorite media?
Hmm. I guess I would say I really like posting pictures, and I
Okay.
really love posting pictures of outfits that I create. And I guess my favorite media would also be videos because I do find them very entertaining,
Uh huh.
and I would love to create videos someday. But with the way YouTube is right now, I know a lot of your audience might not be familiar, but it's very hard to be a creator on that platform because they cater so hard to advertisers that they try to really
Right.
censor the creators. So
Oh, I
if there
didn't
were a
know that, but
website,
yeah.
yeah, like if there were a website where I would be able to upload videos and I wouldn't be censored so heavily, like for advertisers' sake, I would
Right.
definitely love to make videos too.
So when you say you like posting pictures, I presume then your favorite spot is going to be Instagram, right?
Oh, it is. Instagram is my absolute favorite.
Right.
And for all my followers on Instagram who are watching this, thank you for tuning in.
Yes, that's awesome. Comment below. Tell us all the little secrets of why you like this young lady. What's the favorite parts about her? What are some of the pictures that you like? Some of the outfits she throws out there. Drop some pictures in her comment box. That'd be great to see.
I don't know if my ego would be able to handle that. I might get a
I
too big
think
a
it
head.
would. Yeah, we'll bring you back
My head would
down.
get bigger than the camera.
you know, there's a new one out there. I don't know how long it's been out, but it's new to me. Is this TikTok thing? Can you talk a little bit about what? Because TikTok is videos, right?
Yeah.
So tell us about TikTok. What was the purpose of TikTok?
So the purpose of TikTok would be to upload short form videos and just general like personal niche interest clips. So as opposed to YouTube where you could find videos that are hours long,
Right.
on TikTok you'd probably find videos that are only seconds long. And it's definitely popular among Gen Z and millennials. And I would say right now TikTok is at a spot where it has more Gen Z influence than Instagram currently,
Oh,
especially
really?
because Instagram chose to hide likes on most accounts. People are trying to find validation through TikTok instead. Now, TikTok is a little bit weary for me because I've heard some rumors that they're being investigated by federal government
Oops.
for, yeah, like they're owned by a Chinese conglomerate that does data farming. So even though they have such a young user base, they do collect data on
Sure.
all of the users, and that's very dangerous. But as a
Yes.
platform itself, it's very nice for people to be able to express themselves. And it's a really good predecessor to the app Musically, where people were usually uploading the same thing. And then before that, there was Vine, which was owned by Twitter and it closed down. But
Okay.
all of those short form video platforms really showed people ways to really be funny and creative and to show off their dancing skills or their lip syncing skills or stuff like that. So if it does get the clear that they aren't actually farming people's data like it
Right.
seems, then it would definitely be a very nice place to upload. Just be wary what people do with your data because it is important, even though some
Oh,
people
it's
might.
it
So
definitely is, and there is a lot of that stuff that we don't know what's going on, either. But thank you for that update. That's great. I'm glad I asked you about that because I've
yeah,
looked at it and it's like, I don't really understand it. I've got so much other stuff going on, but no, I'm just gonna like put it on the background, So if someone wanted to do like little short videos and stuff like that, to just like you say, make that short impression, what would you recommend that they do for those short impression type things? Where would they go?
I would say probably like TikTok would probably be very good if they weren't, being
Yeah, so let's
investigated.
forget about TikTok.
Yeah,
Where would we take it now so that we could still be that expression but being safer, shall we say, for the moment?
I guess YouTube, despite having such a hard time for creators, I would say YouTube, you would still be able to upload short videos and find relative success.
Oh, okay.
As well as Instagram. Instagram is a very good place to upload short videos too.
Okay. What's the time element on Instagram for
Well,
a video?
I guess you're allowed to upload up to a few seconds per video clip, but if you put them in what's called a carousel post, you could have one short video clip and then the person scrolls and then another short video clip and then another short video clip.
So
Or
they
you could
kind of
do,
like see it in pieces.
yeah, or you could do IGTV, which is one of their newer aspects where they really promote a little bit longer videos.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the world is changing. The world is changing. So, what do you know about Pinterest? We haven't touched on that one.
Pinterest. I love Pinterest so much. I've spent so many hours with Pinterest in the background, just looking at fashion looking at cute ideas to decorate my room. If you can tell, my room is very pink and
Yes,
purple.
I noticed that my favorite colors. I'm a purple girl.
Right? And then I look at food too. Pinterest is really good if you want to look for like a lot of different ideas for one central theme.
Hmm.
So say you wanted to look up like outfits where you wear a bodysuit, but you also wear like a business suit over the bodysuit. I
Okay.
love those so much, and I have bodysuits coming in the mail currently, so look forward to that Instagram. You could see a lot of different people's like outfits that pertain to that one theme of like, oh, they're wearing a bodysuit, but they're also wearing a business suit. You
Okay.
could see a lot of different things. And I really like their feature that they have all the pictures showing at the same time as opposed to Instagram, where it's more you see like one picture at a time. So Pinterest is really good for seeing like so many different things at once.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of advantages to the Pinterest platform that we don't have on some of the others because we don't have that limitation with algorithms and things, right?
Yeah, the algorithm on each site is really different, but each of them makes it like so that there's a way for you to at least learn the algorithm so that you could know how to best perform on the website.
Right. Right. And Twitter. It's surprising. Twitter has had this like roller coaster ride, back and forth, back and forth. But I think for me, I'm thinking Twitter got an extra charge because our fearless leader uses Twitter, right?
Yeah,
So do you use Twitter for anything?
I actually don't use Twitter very often and I've been meaning to get into it, but I guess I'm more inclined for like the whole visual aspect of social media as
Right.
opposed to the whole textual aspect. Like Facebook and Twitter are where you really go to like share ideas and to really communicate with others. But on Instagram and Pinterest or YouTube or TikTok, those are really visual platforms. And it all depends on the way that you would like to communicate with others online.
Right. So it's how you're, again, it goes back into that branding stuff. How do you want people to see you, right? Being that expression of who you are, right? That's
Yeah.
creativity. Yeah.
And with Twitter, I would say if you wanted to engage with all the people's senses, like if you wanted people to see your work, you would go on somewhere like Instagram or Pinterest. But if you wanted people to hear what you have to say, then you would go on Twitter or Facebook.
I know. I used to use Twitter a lot, and then when Periscope came out, I started with that, and I'm not sure why all of a sudden I just kind of like moved away from it. I really don't know why, but I did. But I know that they can put videos up there now. They put picture posts and stuff up there now. And again, I don't know if it has the run, with that element, shall we say, because it was always, just a certain statement with only so many letters. In a way, it kind of got you creative to get to that tagline, right? How can you say it in less and still get the message across, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, because a lot of times we add words that are unnecessary.
Yeah, I'm a very verbose person, so I definitely know what that's like.
uh, there's a lot of teaching too that I've had, when you, with the marketing aspect of it, it's hit those feature taglines, right? Short,
Yeah.
sweet to the point, right? So when I did my tagline for the show, being the best you, right? And I could stop it as being the best you, but I added that the best you that you can be, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a double tag type of thing or whatever. But
Well, it's really works. It's good branding.
yeah. So and I've used that a lot over the years, in all my videos and everything. Even when I was just doing, because I travel a lot, and I do a video where I'm at, and I say, here's what I'm in, this is what I'm seeing, blah 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 blah, and I always end it with, go out there and be that best you can be, And I'm a firm believer of that. That it's all about you and who you are. And when you look at the social media, right? Again, it's that this is me. This is the real me, and I think that fears, a lot of people, why standing on a stage. You know, the greatest fear out there is the one of public speaking. People would rather die than stand on a stage, right? You know?
Yeah, I've heard, public speaking is the number one fear for most people, and then death is second.
Yeah, exactly, and it's crazy, but it is. You know, so when you look at that, it's like, okay, so that's an inhibition that gets held back, you know, and so to become that expression. So when you look at what's going on with the internet, you know, especially when the video stuff come in, because it is an expression of who you are. And I think some of that is kind of dropped because people didn't know what else to do. And after a while, this whole texting thing for me was like, are you kidding me? You know, my kids just text me. I said, are you kidding me? You can't talk to your mother, then forget it. You know, it's like,
oh my gosh.
my grandson, he actually just turned 30, my oldest grandson.
Oh, nice.
And he would do his texting and stuff, and I said, you want to talk to Grandma? You call her. When I call you, unless you are in an emergency meeting or you're whatever, you know, and then you text me back or whatever, but then you better call me back. I said, but you better pick up that phone. So he goes, okay, Grandma, okay. You know, because, you know, again, it's, you know, the era that you're in or whatever, but there's still nothing like that voice on the other side of the phone, right? And I think this is one of the things that have made video really be, you know, come alive, you know, versus the reading thing, because you can say so much more when you're talking and creating an action than when you're typing, and it's less likely to get misunderstood. And then if you have spell check, oh my gosh, right?
Yeah, like you can't really spell a word wrong if you're speaking it.
That's right. That's exactly right. You know, so the word comes out. But, oh my gosh, I've done that and I've read over and it looks okay, but you click it and spell checker change words in there and you read it over and you're like, what the hey?
Yeah, like people would be like, Julia, you said what, the duck? What about ducks?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, yes, it could, and just one word could just shift everything. So there is nothing like the expression, you know, to be able to just speak it. And I really think it shows a lot more true to your own personality and stuff too, and helps people to begin to know, like, and trust you. And again, the inundation that's happening now, and it's like, okay, we're using these platforms for business. We're also using them for just to know each other type of thing. And wouldn't it be nice if you just had one area where you can just go over here and everybody's business, and then you can just go over here and everybody's just fun and games?
Yeah.
And supposedly the pages were to do that, but from what I understand, I mean, I have a Beverly Zimet show page, so I did a video on there. You know, I did one of my shows on there, but it wouldn't let me share it out. I said, what's with this? Right?
Yeah, I hate that.
But then I also found out with the algorithms, you need to do your show, and it was backwards from, you know, a month ago or 6 months ago or whatever, right? They wanted you to do it in and share it out. Now they want you to do it out and share it in. I don't understand it, but whatever, you know. So if you want exposure, and obviously I must be kicking up some wheels here, because I've noticed on some of my videos that I put out there, to some of the shows that are going live, is the share button's missing these days, right? It's like, wonder why they didn't put the share button on this one. I did the same thing I've been doing. Exactly.
It's cause for concern.
So it's like, what made it fall into that? You know, and then the next day I go out, and then, oh, whoops, share button's back. A few more days go by, share button's gone.
They just keep changing it up on us.
So
the algorithm was crazy.
Yeah. You know, I did hear something too. Someone said that they got a message that Facebook was now under this big lawsuit thing, but whether it's true or not, I don't know. But you know, again, it was like people are getting a little upset with their ads not being seen like they said they were going to, and different exposures and the algorithm mess and what. Obviously, there's truth to that part of it, but whether or not there's a lawsuit out, I don't know. But hey, if you hear something, go check it out. See if there is. If there is, let us know, because I don't have time to check it out. But
Yeah.
and again,
I've
like
heard
you
a
were
lot of good things and I've heard a lot of bad things about Facebook's advertising platform.
right.
And I definitely say from experience that it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit good, it's a little bit bad.
Right. And it's like you were mentioning earlier with TikTok, the investigations going on behind the scenes. Unless you happen to see something come across your notifications, you would never know. Right? And if it's not something you're in there in the daily mix,
Yeah.
you wouldn't know. So again, it's like anything you do, whether it's on the virtual world, whether it's on the social media platforms, or you're actually walking outside interacting, right? There's still pros and cons, and there's a need to take caution. Not to have fear, but to take caution, right? Take caution and know what you're doing before you do it and what your options are. But don't be afraid to do something, but take caution. Learn from other people's mistakes. I hate that word. Experiences. Learn from other people's experiences, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't need to make it your own experience, then learn the lesson and get on with life, right? So, if you had
Yeah,
one
I
thing,
definitely agree.
if you had one thing to leave the audience with, what would that be about the social media aspect of things?
I would say, I say this a lot, it's one of my favorite kind of personal quotes, is to tell your dreams to as many different people as possible because you never know who may be able to help you out.
Ooh, I like that. Say that again.
I would say that tell your dreams to as many different people as possible because you never know who would be able to help you out.
That's so amazing. That is great wisdom coming from such a young spirit. And it's so true because I think a lot of us have forgot about our dreams, right? As life kind of gets and catches up with us and whatever. And, we end up having families and kids, and you're involved with this and you're involved in that, and all of a sudden one day you're sitting here thinking, oh man, I think I lost so much of life. What happened? Where did it go? Where's my dream? And that was the one thing back in
Yeah.
1974 that started me on my journey was this is not the life that I'm supposed to be living. I need to find that. And I think the earlier we understand that, and so I want to give a little piece of wisdom to your generation and the one before and after you, because it kind of takes in a little wideness here, right? Is to never lose sight of your dream.
Oh, definitely.
And don't be afraid, like you just said, be an expression of that dream because you never know who can be there to reach out to help you get there. So if you don't speak your dream, it makes it harder to come into reality. Create that vision board.
Oh, yeah.
Get it out of
Vision
your
boards
head.
are
You
really
got the vision up
powerful.
here, but when you share that vision board and you put it out to the world, as you just said, you put it out to the world, someone is going to see it and say, whoa. It's just like the fashion things that you're doing. You never know who in the fashion world has their eye on you, right? That
Yeah.
they may come knocking one day and say, Julia. And you're going to say, yes. And they're going to give you an offer and you're going to pass out, right? And then you're going to wake up and say, you're still here. Okay. Okay, what do we do? Right?
Yeah. I definitely believe LinkedIn is a really good place to share your dreams because a lot of people there are looking for people who have a solid dream and who are looking for their new accomplishments towards their dream.
That's great advice. LinkedIn is a very professional type business connection thing, and I think even Pinterest has a very strong business following type of thing, right? And so yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm starting to really pay more attention to my LinkedIn and whatever, and I've had different reaching out. I know my videos are supposed to go on LinkedIn, however, LinkedIn's really picky about what they choose to put on video wise and stuff. But it's an interesting platform.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I agree with you there.
it really is.
It's a good place to put yourself out into the world of dreamland. That was good.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah.
Oh, of course. I always keep a post-it note about becoming a public figure on my desk, and I always look at it and I'm like, I'm gonna become a public figure. That's what I want to do
Well,
with
you
my
know
life.
what? You started at 9 years old and you made it public then, and you're continuing in the world, and you're in that position, and we'll see what we can do to help you become that public figure out there in the VR world towards the
Yeah.
business side instead of the games, right? Because
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so
VR
that
is a really powerful tool. I definitely agree with that.
well, we're gonna see what kind of power we can put behind you and light it, right?
All right, thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. Oh, Julia, we could talk a lot more about the social media and everything, and just your energy and the spirit of who you are. Thank you so much for being on this show. And guys, comment below. Let us know what you loved about this young woman. And again, how can they find you all over the place? And and they can also reach out, down here in the comment box, private message you or seek you out, right? So if they wanted to find you on social media, well, what is that tag name that you're using?
So for Instagram, I go by sapphire dot underscore dot and then eyes. But you could also just look up Julia Seraphine, which is just Julia Seraphine. And that's my name that, is attached to my Instagram. It's attached to my LinkedIn. It's attached to my Facebook.
It's attached to her hashtag. She's got a hashtag, right?
Yeah, I have hashtag Julia Seraphine too. You can find me there also.
So, oh, that's wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. Again, thank you so much, Julia. And we'll have to see what we can do to get you back on the show once we get you rolling in the VR world, right? And you can share that information. So
I would love to, yeah.
Okay. So now, audience, it's time to say go out there and be that best you that you can be, because Julie and I are going to be the best we that we can be. Have a great day wherever in the world that you are, and we'll see you on the next show.